Hey guys, this is Peish from More Cars, and in today's episode we're going to compare 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 5 versus Tesla Model Y. So through July, the best-selling vehicle in the world this year is the Tesla Model Y. China has a great deal to do with it. However, here in America, the best-selling non-pickup truck is the Tesla Model Y. Yup, the compact EV SUV from the brand Elon Musk built aged out the Toyota RAV4 to take the top non-truck spot. The Ford F-Series, Chevrolet Silverado, and Ram pickups all have outsold the Model Y. Why are so many people around the globe deciding on the Tesla Model Y as the vehicle to buy? We can save you some speculation. As per more trend, it's a fantastic product, versatile, practical, efficient, loaded with tech, and great to drive. Aside from its ubiquity, what's not to love? Hyundai wants to ask another question. Why not the stylish Ioniq 5 instead? We think that's such a good question, we put together this comparison test. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 enters this competition with a leg up, having taken home More Trend's 2023 SUV of the Year award. The biggest question, which was weighed when naming it, the winner was whether or not the Ioniq 5 is actually an SUV. So it's decided in fact it was, the rest was easy, with calling it a game-changing rethink what an SUV can be. Taking one out for a refresher drive around the canyons of Malibu did nothing but reinforce how right they were. It's just a great driving vehicle. The Ioniq 5 Limited, which is comparing to the Tesla Model Y, comes packing with two motors and a combined 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. It features a 77.4 kilowatts per hour battery pack and an EPA-rated range of 266 miles. Because of an 800-volt electrical architecture, the Ioniq 5 can take advantage of 350 kilowatt chargers and go from 10 to 80% charge in 18 minutes. That's quick. As tested, this loaded Hyundai will set you back $58,045. The Tesla Model Y also comes with two motors, good for a combined 384 horsepower and 375 pound-feet of torque. The Model Y has a larger 84.6 kilowatt-hour battery with an EPA-rated range of 330 miles. However, its more primitive 400-volt electrical architecture means it charges more slowly than the Hyundai. Figure on 40 minutes to go from 10 to 80% full at the Tesla Supercharger station. It's hard to pinpoint exactly how much a Tesla costs, as weekly, if not daily prices updates, often in the form of cuts, seems to be the norm. Also, since Tesla killed off its communications department, there's no way to borrow press cars like they always do with any other car maker. As such, it was supposed to be rented, and as tested, the price was $70,130. That said, a good chunk of that came from Tesla's optional and rightly controversial full self-driving capability, which costs $15,000 and cannot in fact self-drive. Moreover, we couldn't even get it to turn on, but our hunch is that whoever rented this car disabled it, so we subtracted its cost from our price. Now, some of the things are objective at best. The Tesla scores an easy victory on space to put stuff. The Model Y has a big trunk that can swallow a sizable rollerboard, whereas we're not even sure why the Hyundai's hood opens. Okay, you can perhaps stuff a soft backpack in its small nook along with a charging cable, but that's it. The Ioniq 5 also weighs significantly more than the Model Y at 4,674 pounds versus 4,337 pounds for Tesla. We're not sure why, as the Hyundai has smaller exterior dimensions and the Tesla packs a larger battery pack. That said, the Hyundai's added beef doesn't seem to affect much of anything in terms of feel or performance. In acceleration, the two are dead even in the 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint, each taking only 4.4 seconds. That's V8 power in the thing that's most likely replacing your Camry. I love that. The Tesla's horsepower advantage shows up by the end of the quarter mile, with it best Hyundai by half a second, 12.7 seconds, at 114.9 miles per hour versus 13.2 seconds at 103.3 miles per hour. Just so we're all on the same page here, the 2023 Honda Civic Type R, a legit performance machine, hits 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds and finishes the quarter in 13.9 seconds at 104.2 miles per hour. Sure, there are quicker EVs and SUVs out there, but at this price point, that's pretty exciting. Stopping power is pretty close, but the Model Y's bigger brakes and lower weight helps it stop from 60 miles per hour in 118 feet versus 122 for the Ioniq 5. The big surprise of the test session occurred on figure-8 handling circuit, where the heavier, less powerful Hyundai was only a tenth of a second, 20.6 versus 20.5 off of the Tesla. Check it perhaps down to tires, as the Korean has a bit more grip, 0.87 G, than the American 0.85 G on the skid pad. For road driving, after spending a bright sunny day flinging these two around the wilds of Malibu, where immediately everyone knew they were conducting a tight comparison test. Broad strokes. For everything one competitor did well, the other scored the win for something else. For example, the Tesla had the better steering, but the Hyundai rode and handled better. The Tesla has much more storage space, but the Hyundai looks 5 to 10 times better, and on it went. As mentioned, it's an easy win in terms of looks for the Ioniq 5. We're not even talking out of school by stating that the Ioniq 5 is one of the bravest, most daring car designs in years, and Hyundai is selling some of these on looks alone. Sure, the design is polarizing and some people will dislike the 80s DeLorean-esque 8-bit look, but for those folks, sister brand Kia sells a slicker thing called the EV6 that is otherwise functionally identical. The Tesla still looks like an angry fish of some sort, and it's so popular its styling has become bland. The interior is another spot where we like the Hyundai better than the Tesla. There are so many people at so many automakers who would cut off a limb to have their company's cost-cutting viewed as positively as fans view Teslas. Putting everything on a screen and leaving the dashboard empty is somehow chic, minimalist, and forward-thinking. When other OEMs go this route, it's knocked as cheap. To many of the experts, the Model Y's interior simply looks too austere, and we're still not fan of having a glance over at the single screen to see vehicle speed. Of course, any owner is likely to get used to that, as the big central screen that runs just about everything, save for hazard lights, does work quite well. It's logical and easy to navigate too. We were willing to give the win to the Hyundai just because there's a shade for the glass roof. What a galactically obvious thing to include on a car for which its biggest markets are in sun-drenched parts of a warming world. A message to every other automaker: a glass roof with no shade is simply the wrong answer. Unlike its exterior, there's nothing particularly revolutionary or cutting-edge about the Ioniq 5's interior. That said, we found it preferable to the Model Y's starkness simply for having been styled. It's a bit roomier feeling inside as well, and a special shout out to the calf cushion that pops up from the driver's seat when you turn it into a recliner, relax mode, while waiting at the charger. And let's talk about the driving, shall we? On the road, these two are even Steven. One of the reasons EVs are as efficient as they are is the ability they have to recapture energy via regenerative braking. This enables one-pedal driving that uses the motor to slow the vehicle as opposed to brakes, so you rarely have to bother hitting the brake pedal. The Tesla excels here. Again, as one of the experts mentioned, I am a die-hard one-pedal driver, and I just like playing the way Tesla does it better. For example, you're driving down the street and you see a yellow or red light. In normal call, you lift off the throttle and then begin modulating the brake pedal. The Model Y is programmed in such a way that simply lifting means you will come at a complete stop, the same speed you would have by using the brake pedal. The Hyundai, on the other hand, doesn't come to a complete stop in time on its own, its regenerative braking being sometimes difficult to judge. Moreover, and unlike the Tesla, you have to remember to put the Ioniq 5 into high regen mode by pulling the left steering wheel paddle every time you get it and drive. Still, and as much as we all prefer the Tesla steering feel and one-pedal function, we thought the Hyundai was the better car to actually drive. First of all, the ride quality is much better, and we think that we can attribute that to the Ioniq's longer wheelbase, 118.1 inches versus 113.8. The Ioniq 5 also displayed better body control and served up much less beating and intervention. We were surprised at how much noise Model Y was making, as well as the amount of traction control interference. The Hyundai is definitely more fun to toss around on a super tight, twisty road than the Tesla. With the traction control off, the Ioniq 5 becomes a hoot. Still, the both SUVs are so strong that as we finish our evaluation loops, we couldn't figure out which EV was going to come out on top. With everything so tight, we slice and dice our findings and experiences every which way and still couldn't pick a winner. And yet, the 2023 Tesla Model Y takes the prize. Why? Charging. After our driving, we decided to charge the vehicle while continuing the debate and ponder. So one of the editors took the Tesla, plugged it into a supercharger near the place that they were eating, and 40 minutes later unplugged it and the car was charged to 80%. So he practically touched nothing, he swiped nothing, no phone, no apps, nothing. However, the other one had a much different experience with the Hyundai Ioniq 5. About a mile from the supercharger in the high-income enclave of Westlake Village sits an Electrify America bank of 4 chargers. All 4 were occupied, so while the Tesla charger had 16 chargers and 14 of them were available, they sat and waited while they were charging. After 10 minutes, they noticed 2 people exit one of the theoretically charging vehicles, a brand new BMW i4. Turns out they couldn't get the charger working, but a guy from the dealership where they bought it was coming over to help. So could they charge in the meantime? No, they didn't want to give up their spot. So they sat and they sat. The dealer person showed up, they screwed around with the i4 for about 10 minutes and then left. We felt victorious, pulled in and found a Unix error on the charger screen. No charging for the Hyundai there. So we drove 8 miles to an EVgo station in another place to charge. So imagine their first 2 attempts failed, one using the credit card timed out and the other one simply couldn't connect it using the app. At the end of the day, they could make it work, and in about 12 minutes the Ioniq 5 went from 40 to 80% charged. This example of the difference between the 2 types of public charging stations is typical of what we've experienced ever since we crowned the Tesla Model S the car of the year back in 2013. Now, if you can plan to purchase an EV and install a level 2 charger at your home, a lot of the above simply isn't an issue. You plug it at night and wake up with the battery charged to where you need to be for the day ahead. In that case, case, pick whichever of the EVs most tickles your fancy, and they're both sensational. However, if that's not the case and you don't own a Tesla, then the above is likely to reflect your reality. As to the Ioniq 5 versus the Tesla Model Y, with all S being equal, and we feel these two electric SUVs are in fact perfectly evenly matched, the ease of charging, the Tesla puts the Model Y just over the top for now. So this is it, guys. Concise and precise as always. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is Tesla still the king simply because of its charger, or the up-and-coming brands have a chance in the near future? If you like our videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to all. Stay tuned.